All right, in this video, we're gonna go through the short form Lego bricks. This is like my favorite framework, the best framework. I feel like this will power everything you do. So earlier in the modules, I mentioned that my goal was to help de-risk your effort making content. That's really the principle here. What I mean by that is every time you go to make a video and you spend time, I want you to sit down and feel confident, like you have a high chance of that effort being worth it because the video pays off. That's what de-risking is. So how do I de-risk your effort and give you a higher hit rate, higher probability chance of winning? The way we do that is by studying videos that have already outperformed on your own channel. That's the best place. But before you have winners in your niche and other adjacent niches, and taking the components of those videos and remixing. That's really the goal of how you de-risk your effort so that you have a higher hit rate than normal. Now, like I said before, we're not going to copy these videos word for word or frame for frame. We're just going to break them down into atomic variables and then rebuild newer, better versions. So the concept of doing this is called the Lego brick framework. This is what I kind of invented, and I feel like this is a helpful way to systematize content research and reproduction. So every video has 11 core components. These are the 11 Lego bricks. It can really be bucketed into 5 categories, but let me just go through the 11 for you. Format is the first thing. This is what we start with. This, I think, is like the canvas of the video. You build everything on top of the format. This is the high-level sequencing or structure for how the video is communicated. Things like how-tos, listicles, case studies, rankings, hero journey, things like that, right? There's 20 formats. Then you've got the pieces that make up the idea. And I split these into 3 because I think it's easiest this way. You've got the topic, which is just a 2 to 3 word interest topic or subject of the video. You've got the seed, which is the one-liner encompassing the premise of the video. This is like what you would say to a friend if you're like, oh yeah, that video was about shopping in Minneapolis and the different stores they have, right? The one-liner. And then substance are the context and facts, the angles or opinions, or the examples that you share in the video. It's like the meat of the video that you share to support the premise. All 3 of these things make up the idea. Then you've got the hook, and the hook is really made up of 3 pieces. There's the spoken hook, which is what you say verbally in the first couple sentences. You've got the visual hook, which is everything on the screen that you show. And then you've got the text hook, which is the text shown on the visuals as you say it. Could be the title text, not mapped to what you say, or the captions mapped to what you say. So these 3 things make up the hook. Then you've got the script, and you really have 2 pieces for the script. The first piece is the story structure, and I like to just think of this as like a bulleted 5-piece list breaking down how the story flows. It's basically a double click into the format. If the format is breakdown, the story structure for a breakdown is like first you do the hook, then you introduce the context, then you break it down, then you say implication, what it means, and then you do a CTA. That would be an example of a story structure. CTA is the last piece, which is your call to action to drive people down the funnel or to follow you. So these 2 things make up the script. And then the last 2 pieces make up the edit or the visuals. And this is just the visual layout, how the visuals are laid out on the screen, and then the elements, what actual visuals, graphics, text graphics, or audio are you using in the edit. This makes up kind of like the visuals. So if we cluster those Lego bricks around those 5 pieces in like the order you would make a video, it really looks like this. Format. First, you pick the format, then you figure out the idea, then you figure out the hook, then you figure out the script, then you edit it and figure out the visuals. So it really is simple. Like it follows this linear flow that you're going to run every single time. Now, this is where the Lego brick framework comes in. I think it's super useful. If you analyze all the top performing videos in your niche and you know that those are the pieces, those are the atomic variables that make up a video, you're going to start noticing common patterns that are working over and over. And once you start noticing those common patterns, it becomes a lot easier to be like, oh, I see that working for the hook across 5 different people. I should use that as well. That is how you de-risk your effort. As a beginner, your goal is to find outlier videos from other people, extract the Lego brick options they use, hold as many of them as close as constant as you can, and then change the ones where you feel like you have new perspective or you can improve the video. So in theory, if we see a winning video in our category, could we keep everything the same, but just slightly change the substance or maybe change the CTA and keep everything the same? That would have a much higher chance of winning than you making an original on your own when you're a beginner. Now, over time, as you build more skills and potentially even a better team, you're going to feel more confident in experimenting to create your own Lego brick options over time. But when you're a beginner, don't try to do this because it's so overwhelming. This is why beginners get stuck, because they try to make original videos when they don't have the skills. The goal is not to clone everything forever. The goal is just to use what's already worked as a substitute for your skill deficiency in the early stages. And then as you develop your skills, you can take more creative chances over time. That's what I really mean by use inspiration. It's not copy and be a drone. It's use inspiration to clone when you're learning. And then once you've learned, you can try new stuff. Now, certain Lego brick categories, usually like the topic and the substance, they have an almost unlimited set of options. Like you can imagine every niche, there's millions of topics across every niche. So there's no like list of topics, right? You got to go in your niche and figure out what the topics are. There are patterns there, but oftentimes these change every single video. But for most of the other categories, things like hooks or format or CTA or visual layout, there's a defined set of options that we can pick from, like a finite list. And I have that list for all of them. You only need to find one or two that work for you, and you can use those over and over. So as we progress through the curriculum, I'm going to break down each Lego brick and all of the options you have available. On this doc right here, the Lego Brick Master Database, I've got all 11, and then I have all the options here. Now, it's kind of hard to tell because you don't have the visuals on here. As we go through, I've got visual examples linked. I've got the Figmas that you can access. I have everything you'll need visually to kind of like make this make sense. So I just wanted to introduce the idea of Lego bricks here. We're going to double click into Lego bricks every single module where it's relevant. All right, I want to end this video now. I've got one more video for you in this module, and this is really the systems-based approach for social media. When people say you need to build a social media system, it would be this. So let's get into that video right now.